Okay, deep divers, here we are on sheet number 97. And we've got more word problems. It says solve each problem, make sure to write your answer as a fraction. Which is funny because when I read this first problem, I don't know that we're going to be able to comply with what they're asking. But let's see, maybe I just glanced at it, so I haven't read it all the way through. It says downtown, 7 artists were painting a mural that was 64 feet long. If they split the canvas evenly, how much will each artist get to paint? Oh, I see. Okay, I just read the very end of it and I didn't see. So part of this will be as a fraction, part of it will be as a whole number. Because there are 2 questions here. If they split the canvas evenly, how much will each artist get to paint? Which 2 whole numbers does your answer lie between? So that is a really great question. And these I don't think are going to be as challenging or difficult as the ones on the previous sheets, as long as you understand how to do them. So what we're going to want to do on this is remember that fractions are division problems. And what I'm doing is I've got a 64-foot long mural, and I'm literally dividing it between 7 artists. I'm cutting it up into 7 sections. It says, if they split the canvas evenly, how much will each artist get to paint? So what they're asking about is this question 64 divided by 7. Well, that might look like a difficult problem when you write it like that. But if you remember that fractions are division problems, then you know you can also write it as 64 over 7. These 2 things equal the same thing. 64 divided by 7 is the exact same as 64 over 7. You can read a fraction like this as 64 divided by 7. You can say 64 sevenths, or you can say 64 over 7, or you can say 64 divided by 7. There are a lot of different ways to say that fraction. But one of them is 64 divided by 7. 64 over 7, 64 sevenths, those all are the same thing as 64 divided by 7. So if they split the canvas evenly, how much will each artist get to paint? That's the answer right there. Each artist will get to paint 64 sevenths. Now, then they say, well, between which 2 whole numbers will this be? Well, there are a couple different ways to do it. And one way is to just think, well, what is this fraction as a mixed number? And for that, I need to think how many 7s will fit into 64. And what I know right off is that 7 times 10 is 70. So I know that fewer than 10 will fit in. 64 is not very far away from 70. In fact, it's only 6 less than 70. And that lets me know that 9 7s will fit in. And then I double check. I think, well, what is 9 times 7? And I think, oh yeah, that's 63. So 9 will fit in because this is within 7 of 70, right? If 10 7s is 70, then 64 is closer to 70 than 7. And so I've got 9, and 9 times 7 equals 63. That means I've got 1/7 left over, right? And I can double check. I can use my convert to an improper fraction trick to double check and make sure that's true. Bottom times side plus top. 7 times 9, 63 plus 1, 64. Sure enough, that's 64 sevenths. So these 2 things equal each other, and then that means that it's between 9 and 10. I'd kind of like you to get the extra practice with this, converting the improper fraction to mixed number, and then converting the mixed number back to an improper fraction. Excuse me. Excuse me. I think that's good practice to do, but you might just immediately know, oh, that's really close to 10, so it's probably between 9 and 10. You can do that, but I think that practice is good. Let's quickly do another one. A blanket shop had 13 feet of fabric. If they wanted to use the fabric to make 5 blankets, each of the same length, how long would each one be? Between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie? Well, the quick way to do it is, to think, what am I doing? I've got 13 feet of fabric. I'm splitting it up into 5 sections, 5 blankets. So they're going to be pretty skinny blankets. Is that right? If they wanted to use the fabric to make 5 blankets, yeah, it's going to be pretty skinny blankets. But what I get is 13 divided by 5, right? 13 fifths. 13 divided by 5 equals 13 over 5, 13 fifths. This fraction is 13 over 5. I didn't write it very well, so I'm going to come back here and write it a little bit more neatly. 13 over 5 is exactly the same as 13 divided by 5. And really, as you move forward in math, you will be writing a division problem much more often as a fraction. So knowing that fractions are division problems is an important lesson of this particular page, but also of Deep Divers Math, making sense of that. I think this form of writing 13 divided by 5 is one of the least usable forms. I'm not quite sure why math educators ever decided that that was a worthwhile form to use. It, to my mind, it does causes more trouble than good. But we use that notation. You're used to that notation, so I know that you think about it that way. But I want you to start thinking about division problems as being fractions. Fractions are division problems. Division problems are fractions. So here, each one's going to be 13 fifths long. It's that easy. 13 divided by 5 equals 13 fifths. But to know what 13 divided by 5 actually is, you want to convert this to a mixed number, because doing 13 divided by 5 is actually the same as converting this to a mixed number. So how many 5s fit in? 2 of them do, and you've got 3 fifths left over. It's that easy. So 13 divided by 5 actually equals 2 3 fifths. And that's kind of a remarkable thing, that you can do 13 divided by 5 that quickly just by converting it into a mixed number. So there you go. I'm going to stop there, let you do the rest of these on your own. And if you have any questions, check with me in class or watch some of the previous videos, because a lot of the questions that you might have are probably included in those previous videos if you haven't already watched them. All right, that's it. Thanks. I'll catch you next time.